Imagine this. It's 2 a.m. You're lying in bed exhausted, but your brain is wide awake. You're replaying that one awkward conversation from last week, wondering if you offended someone, thinking about that email you should have worded better, worrying about something that might maybe possibly go wrong tomorrow. Welcome to the mental marathon called overthinking. And if you're watching this, chances are you know exactly what that feels like. You're not alone. Studies show that 73% of adults between 25 and 35 overthink regularly. That means nearly 3 out of 4 people you meet are battling the same mental chaos every single day. But here's the good news. Overthinking isn't a life sentence, it's a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. In this video, we're going to unpack exactly what overthinking is, why your brain does it, and most importantly, how to stop it using proven science, psychology, and practical strategies that actually work. Let's get into it. So, what is overthinking really? Overthinking isn't just thinking too much, it's when thinking becomes a loop. Instead of solving a problem, your mind replays it over and over like a broken record. It's analysis paralysis, indecision, catastrophizing, spiraling thoughts, and honestly, often all of them at once. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Overthinking often feels productive. You tell yourself, I'm just being thorough, or maybe I need to make sure I've considered every angle, but neuroscience says otherwise. Overthinking actually activates your brain's default mode network, the system that runs when your brain is idle. It's the same network linked to rumination, self-criticism, and yes, anxiety. So the more you overthink, the more anxious and uncertain you become. And well, the more anxious you are, the more you overthink. It's a vicious cycle, and your brain just gets trapped in it. But why do we do it? Think of your brain like a smoke detector. It's wired to keep you safe. Thousands of years ago, overthinking actually helped our ancestors survive. If you didn't consider every sound in the forest, you might get eaten by a lion. Literally. So your brain evolved to spot threats, real or imagined, and spin through every possible scenario to keep you safe. But in modern life, most threats aren't lions. They're emails, job interviews, Instagram likes, tiny things that feel absolutely huge because, honestly, your brain just doesn't know the difference. Here's the key. Your brain overthinks because it's trying to protect you. But you know, in doing so, it often ends up hurting you, blocking action, damaging confidence, and increasing stress. Let's pause and ask, what is overthinking really costing you? Studies have found that chronic overthinking is linked to depression, insomnia, poor decision-making, and even lower life satisfaction. Honestly, it eats away at your time, your mental energy, your relationships, and your self-esteem. Think of it like a car stuck in the mud. The more you hit the gas, the deeper the tires dig in. That's your brain on overthinking. Burning fuel but going nowhere. Now let's talk solutions. Step 1, shift from thinking to doing. Here's something almost no one tells you. You don't think your way out of overthinking. You act your way out. Research from the University of California shows that action reduces anxiety faster than thought. Even small steps, sending the email, making the call, writing the to-do list, create momentum and stop the spiral. Want to stop overthinking? Well, do something, anything really. Action is the enemy of rumination. Step 2, use the name it to tame it rule. Neuroscientist Dr. Dan Siegel found that when you label an emotion, you actually reduce its intensity. It's called name it to tame it. Next time you're spiraling, just say it out loud or write it down. I'm anxious about tomorrow's meeting, or I'm worried I embarrassed myself. This pulls your brain out of the emotional storm and into a rational, calmer state. It sounds simple, but it works. MRI scans show that labeling emotions deactivates the amygdala, the brain's fear center, and activates the prefrontal cortex, which helps with logic and decision-making. Step 3, break the time loop. Overthinkers live in two places, the past and the future. You're either replaying what went wrong yesterday, or, panicking about what could go wrong tomorrow. So, what's the fix? Well, it's all about anchoring yourself in the present. One trick that works, honestly, incredibly well is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method. Start by noticing 5 things you can see, then 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and finally 1 thing you can taste. It might sound like mindfulness, and yeah, it really is. But this technique isn't just spiritual fluff. Actually, studies from Harvard show that present moment awareness reduces activity in the brain's default mode network. That's the part responsible for, overthinking. Step 4, set a worry timer. You can't just tell yourself to stop worrying, that doesn't work. But you can give your brain permission to worry later. Set a 10-minute timer on your phone. When you start spiraling, just tell yourself, okay brain, you can worry at 7:30 p.m. for 10 minutes. Until then, we've got stuff to do. Surprisingly, this works. Why? Because it gives your brain structure and boundaries. You're not suppressing your thoughts, you're postponing them, and by the time the timer hits, most of those worries feel kind of irrelevant. Step 5, ask better questions. Overthinking is often filled with those what-if questions. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if this doesn't work out? But, try flipping the script. Ask yourself, what if it goes right? What's the best that could happen? What's one thing I can do now? Questions shape focus, and focus shapes action. Step 6, create a decision deadline. One of the biggest overthinking traps is, honestly, indecision. You weigh every option, you ask everyone's opinion, and you try to make the perfect choice and end up making none. Psychologists call this maximizing versus satisficing. Maximizers, they exhaust themselves trying to make the absolute best choice. Satisficers, on the other hand, pick the good enough option and move on. Guess who's happier? Satisficers, every time. So next time you're stuck, set a 24-hour deadline. Make the best decision you can with the info you've got. Then stick to it. Done is better than perfect. Step 7, practice mental minimalism. So, your mind is kind of like your phone, if you leave 83 tabs open, it's definitely going to lag. Same goes for your brain. Mental minimalism means you clear out the junk, you declutter your mind, you stop overloading your mental RAM. Try this. At night, just do a brain dump. Write down every thought, worry, or to-do list item. Just get it out of your head and onto paper. Delete apps or social feeds that drain your attention and say no to one unnecessary commitment each week. Less noise means more clarity. Step 8, reframe the spiral. Here's a surprising fact. Overthinking is often a byproduct of intelligence. If you're analytical, curious, introspective, you're more likely to ruminate. That's not a flaw, it's a strength that needs direction. Reframe the spiral like this. I'm not overthinking, I'm overprocessing without an outlet. So give yourself an outlet. Journal your thoughts, talk it out with a friend, channel your energy into art, writing, or building something. Use your deep thinking brain for creation, not just contemplation. Step 9, train your brain daily. Stopping overthinking isn't a one-time fix. It's like going to the gym, You have to train your mental muscles. Meditation is the most proven tool here. Even 10 minutes a day of mindfulness meditation can shrink the amygdala and grow the prefrontal cortex, literally rewiring your brain to be calmer, clearer, and more present. Not into meditation? Well, you could try focused breathing, walking without your phone, or just doing one task at a time. Honestly, anything that builds focus trains your brain to stop looping. Think of your mind like a snow globe. When you're overthinking, everything's shaken up. Thoughts are flying everywhere. You can't see clearly. But if you stop shaking it, if you pause, breathe, and ground yourself, the snow settles. Clarity returns. Stopping overthinking isn't about controlling every thought. It's about creating space between you and your thoughts, and in that space you get your power back. So here's your challenge. Pick one strategy from this video and try it today, not tomorrow, today. Whether it's a brain dump, a decision deadline, or a 10-minute walk without your phone, act. Because thinking changes nothing, but action changes everything. If this video helped you, share it with someone who lives in their head too much. You might just help them find some peace. And remember, your mind is a tool, not a